Hi, my name is Aya. You're watching Aya Read, and I'm here to recommend you books based on the songs of The Life of a Showgirl by Taylor Swift. So, if you really hate Taylor Swift and you only came here to hate on her, then I would kindly direct you to a channel that cares. Like, I'm sure there are a lot of channels out there who hate on her. This is not that channel, so don't be a hater here. At the moment, I definitely am not feeling like a showgirl. I am wearing some of my friendship bracelets that are definitely the showgirl ones, and I also have the So High School. I don't know if you can see that. So High School with the Chiefs colors and the Eras Tour, which this is the one I'm most proud of because it has like all the color beads from the Eras Tour. Anyway, I don't know if that made any sense. Maybe I'll insert a video if I remember and if I feel well, because I don't feel well at all. I'm a bit sick, but I was debating whether or not I wanted to do the video, so I was like low-key yesterday trying to figure out, okay, so which book would fit for which song, and then I got to 9 of the songs that I could find a book for, so then I just figured I have to do it. A couple of things before we start. With some of these songs, I had to reach a bit, and I will explain with every song why that was and which lyrics I actually used. But some of them I feel like I got correctly, like the vibe of the song and the meaning of the song fit the book perfectly. So these are all romances because I'm a romance girly. And I'm sure there's gonna be other people. Wait a minute. I'm filming at not the right time where the sun is coming in and out. So if I look like a pale ghost, well, it is what it is, I guess. I know, for example, Gabby Reads does a video like this every time there's a new Taylor Swift album. She also reads romances, but also reads other genres. So definitely check out her video once it's uploaded. I'm not sure if she's gonna do one this time around, but if she does, then check that one out. She hasn't uploaded a video like that yet. I'm gonna do this in the style of all the other music to book recommendations I've done, so I'll leave the playlist linked for you because most of those songs were Taylor Swift songs. So if you are a Swiftie and want more book recommendations based on her songs, then check out those 3 videos I did because, like I said, well, one of them is entirely Taylor Swift, and then the other 2, I feel like at least 70%, probably 80% is all Taylor Swift songs that I did recommend books for. So I'm gonna go obviously in order of the album, and I'm gonna have a screenshot right here, I think. Yeah. And then I'll do the books here, I think. We'll see how I'm gonna do this, but I will have, yeah. So you can actually see the lyrics I'm referring to. For the Fate of Ophelia, I picked Alchemised. And let me actually talk through the lyrics, so hopefully it will make sense why I chose that particular book. You light the match to watch it blow. And if you'd never come for me, I might have drowned in the melancholy. I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I, right before you lit my sky up. All that time, I sat alone in my tower. You were just honing your powers. Now I can see it all. Late one night, you dug me out of my grave and saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia. Don't care where the hell you been, 'cause now you're mine. But love was a cold bed full of scorpions. The venom stole her sanity. And if you'd never come for me, I might have lingered in purgatory. You wrap around me like a chain, a crown, a vine, or manacles, putting me into the fire. The fate of Ophelia, 'tis locked inside my memory, and only you possess the key. No longer drowning and deceived, all because you came for me. Okay, so this book just recently came out. It is a very, very, very dark fantasy romance where you follow Helena. This book is split into 3 parts. The first part is current day. The second and biggest part are all flashbacks. And the third part is back to current time. Follow Helena, and in this world, the bad guys have won. And in this world, the bad guys are necromancers. So it's really an untenable situation for the good guys because any losses the good guys have, so when their people die, the bad side gets to use them and add them to their army. The book starts with Helena waking up after she has been like locked basically inside a tower. She's been inside this like vat, and she has been slowly for 14 months losing her mind. And she has lost her memories, so that also fits with the Fate of Ophelia, of course. In the lyrics, it says, only you have the key for my memories or something like that. Only you possess the key. Or sorry, 'tis locked inside my memory and only you possess the key. That is very apt, I do have to say. She gets given to the High Reeve because the bad side, the necromancers, always thought that she was just a lowly healer, nobody of importance, but she is one of the few members left of the resistance. And also, why has she lost all her memory? So they think there must be something important locked inside her memory. So she gets given to the High Reeve, whose name is Kane Farron. She knew him from school, but they never really hung out. He is trying to get inside her memories and get those for his side. But there's something more going on. In the flashbacks, we find out the real story between Kane and Helena, and this is definitely a romance. It's a hard one, HN. This book is very much like you're drowning in your melancholy because it's so sad. Like, there are some happy moments, but they are few and far between. The lyrics of I swore my loyalty to me, myself, and I doesn't 100% fit, basically. It fits for me in that she swore her loyalty to the resistance, and therefore she kind of betrays him every step of the way, it feels like. But yeah, I did a entire non-spoiler review for this book and also a very long spoilery discussion. So if you want more in-depth thoughts about this book and why I chose it for this song, then check those videos out. I will have every video where I talk about any of these books linked for you. Moving on to Elizabeth Taylor, and I already have to tell you, this is kind of a reach, but so the thing I do have to say with this album is, even though I really love songs about show business, showgirls, discussions about the industry, I don't love to read about those. I just don't really love books. First of all, I don't really love books about famous people unless they are athletes. And I don't really love books about singers and, yeah, singers. So that made this album a bit difficult for me. So I did have to reach at some points. But I do feel like for the lyrics, I kind of got it right. So for Elizabeth Taylor, I went for Beautiful Venom by Rina Kent. And let me explain it. And if your letters ever said goodbye, I'd cry my eyes violet, Elizabeth Taylor. I've been number one, but I never had to. And I can't have fun if I can't have you. They say I'm bad news, I just say thanks. And you look at me like you're hypnotized. Don't you ever end up anything but mine. So this is a very dark romance. So once again, check your triggers. I started with like the darkest romances. I promise not all of them are dark romances. This is the first book in the Vipers series by Rina Kent, and it is a new series. You can start with this one without having read her entire backlist. This is a dark hockey romance. So there is an athlete there, and it's a college romance. And you follow another Kane, actually. Kane Davenport and Dahlia. Dahlia's sister is in a coma, and she is like about 99% sure the Vipers have something to do with the fact that she's in a coma. And not just the Vipers, Vencor, which is like the secret society of these rich people. And the Vipers, they also have something to do with this secret society. So she's trying to get close to Kane Davenport, one of the Vipers, and she hopes that through him she can get some information about her sister. Kane kind of spots what she's doing, like he realizes pretty quickly what she's doing, so he wants to like use her and play with her a bit. So he does end up taking her to initiation, which is a very dark type of thing where there's non-consensual sex scenes or like dubious consent, and like it's a very hard scene to read, but they do end up, like it does end up in a romance, obviously, because it's a romance book. And I cry my eyes violet, Elizabeth Taylor, is for this one quote that he says in the book, which I'll leave Rina's Instagram post right here. Don't cry, it makes me hard. So he kind of gets turned on by her crying, but also he's very, very possessive. So I can't have fun if I can't have you. But also, don't you ever end up being anything but mine. He does use the word mine a lot in this book. And the thing is, I've always been one, but I never had two. He is so privileged. He also is a good athlete, so he does win a lot. But he never really had a person to share it with. So that's why I thought it fit. I admit this is a reach, but Here we are. Opalite was difficult for me because I feel like a lot of romances could fit for Opalite, but I, at the end of the day, went for Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This is one of my favorite romances of all time, so let's go through the lyrics. I had a bad habit of missing lovers past. My brother used to call it eating out of the trash. It's never gonna last. I thought my house was haunted. I used to live with ghosts, and all the perfect couples said when you know, and when you don't, you don't. But my mama told me it's alright. You were dancing through the lightning strikes, sleepless in the onyx night, but now the sky is opalite. Oh my lord, never made no one like you before. You had to make your own sunshine, but now the sky is opalite. This is just a temporary speed bump, but failure brings you freedom and I can bring you love. This book is about Justin and Emma, and they meet when Justin posts on Reddit, like on the Am I the Asshole Reddit, asking if he is the asshole because he's being a bit petty because his best friend has started dating Justin's ex. Like in his post, he also says something about how he is the guy his exes date right before they find the one. So Emma comes across his post and she also has the same problem. She is always the girl her exes date before they find the one. She ends up messaging him and they decide, well, if we date each other, then maybe the next person both of us date will be the one and our curses will be canceled out. She is a traveling nurse, so she comes to where he lives and they decide to date just for the summer and then break up after. But of course, things don't always go that way. She has some issues with her mom, who's an absent mom, who has really, like, it is definitely an abusive situation there. And she was abandoned a lot. And his mom, even though she was always a good mom for him growing up, now she's going to jail for something she did. And he has to take care of his 3 younger siblings when he is like in his 20s, so not ready for that at all. So she's talking about, she had these different lovers, none of them were right, and all these perfect couples said, when you know, you know. So when you know it is the one, you know immediately, whereas if it's not the right one, you don't know immediately. So I feel like both Justin and Emma have had that in the past. Whereas now that they finally date each other, they know that this is what it's supposed to be like. Things like you had to make your own sunshine, but now the sky is opalite kind of counts for both of them. She had to make her own sunshine because her mother was never taking care of her. And he kind of has to make his own sunshine now because he needs to kind of keep it together for his siblings. This is just a temporary speed bump, but failure brings you freedom. Kind of like the fact that their last relationship never worked out, like, is a failure, but like kind of a failure. I don't feel like it's failure because it brought them freedom and it brought them to each other. So like I said, I feel like a lot of romances could fit this song, but this one just warms my heart so much. And what I like about this book is that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. They have to deal with real struggles in their life and real difficulties. So that's why I feel like this one definitely fits for this song. Father figure was an interesting one because a part of me wanted to do like a daddy romance, but I didn't feel like that fit at all and also was kind of inappropriate. So since she has a lot of like mafia references, like of famous mafia movies, I went for a mafia romance and I went for the classic Bound by Honor. So let me talk you through the lyrics that I feel like are the most mafia adjacent. I can make deals with the devil because my dick's bigger. Leave it with me, I protect the family. You want a fight, you found it. I got the place surrounded. You'll be sleeping with the fishes before you know you're drowning. This empire belongs to me. Leave it with me, I protect the family. I was debating between this book or the second book because the second book actually deals with the mafia that is literally called the Familia, so the family, of course. But this one, I felt like, so this is the start of the series, you should start with this one. So this, you follow Arya and Luca. Oh no, I am wrong about that. It's actually the New York Familia. Yeah, so this works perfectly. So Luca and Arya have been engaged like ever since she was 9 or something. So she knew that she was gonna have to marry Luca ever since she was a little girl because, you know, she's a mafia princess. That is what she's supposed to do. But she's always been afraid of him because there have been some like really terrible things said about him, like terrible things he's done, like literally kill someone with his bare hands when he was 11 or 12 or something. So she was terrified of him. She thought this is going to be like the worst life ever. If he treats other people like that, like why would he treat me right as his wife? So this is an arranged marriage. Obviously they get married, and you know, it seems that even though he is all of those things, he is like, he will do anything to protect the familia. He will not be kind to his enemies at all, but there is a soft spot for Arya. So yeah, definitely, like this is the first in a long mafia romance series. I'm not even done. Like I only read the first 3, so I still need, like I still have ways to go. But I feel like this is such a classic mafia romance, and it's very short. So, and it makes sense. She keeps with like the classic mafia tropes in here. So I feel like if you want to start a mafia romance series, then this is a good one to start. And all these books are like around 300 pages. Eldest Daughter, I went for Unsteady by Peyton Corinne for the obvious reasons, but also maybe not. Let's talk through these lyrics first. But I'm not a bad bitch, and this isn't savage, but I'm never gonna let you down. You know, the last time I laughed this hard was on the trampoline in somebody's backyard. I must have been 8 or 9. That was the night I fell off and broke my arm. Pretty soon, I learned cautious discretion. When I said I don't believe in marriage, that was a lie. Every eldest daughter was the first lamb to the slaughter, so we all dressed up as wolves and we looked fire. We lie back, a beautiful, beautiful time lapse, Ferris wheels, kisses, and lilacs, and things I said were dumb. Because I thought I'd never find that beautiful, beautiful life that shimmers that innocent light back. Like when we were young. This is like also a heartbreaking book because yes, she is the eldest daughter and that is kind of ruining her life. You follow Sadie and Reese, and Sadie really, like when, I don't know if I said those lyrics, but she really has no time to date. The only thing she really can do is hook up with guys to kind of get her frustrations out. And the book starts off with her finding, well, first of all, it starts off with a bad interaction between her and Reese because she has 2 little brothers and she's late picking them up, and he kind of calls her out on it. He thinks she's their mother, and she basically chews him out and tells him to fuck off. He doesn't know anything about her. Then the next day she finds him, because she's a figure skater, he's a hockey player. She finds him hyperventilating on the ice and having a panic attack on the ice. So she ends up helping him because she is a good person. They kind of have these interactions because like they kind of share the ice. Like when one of them ends their practice on the ice, the other one will start. He feels like she's the only one that kind of calms him down, but she, like I said, has no time to date because her father, she doesn't really have a mom, and her father is an alcoholic and constantly steals money from her and is not taking care of her 2 little brothers, because she does have 2 little brothers that she is 100% responsible for taking care of them, because she knows if she is not doing it, then nobody else will. But she also goes to college, and she also has to put in time on the ice because that is what pays for her college, for her going to college. This romance is him trying desperately to be with her and her keeping him at a distance at every turn for understandable reasons, and her reluctantly accepting help from other people with taking care of her brother. So once again, definitely fits because she is an eldest daughter. And even though here in this song Taylor talks about like eldest daughter and the connection with how people are on the internet, but I feel like the eldest daughter comparison is very apt with this one because her life wouldn't be this way if she wasn't the eldest daughter. I mean, it would still suck because her father is still an alcoholic. It's not like her 2 little brothers have a great life, but they just don't have to worry as much about things the way she does. So this was a heartbreaking book, but I really loved it. It is beautiful, heartbreakingly beautiful, some would say. Ruin the Friendship is, of course, like the only thing I could obviously pick is a friends to lovers romance. And I actually thought, okay, so we're in October now. It's only 2 months before the holiday season. So let's actually pick a Christmas romance. And I went for Set the Record Straight by Hannah Bonham Young. And let's talk through these lyrics. Your smile, miles wide. and it was not an invitation, should have kissed you anyway. Staying friends is safe, doesn't mean you should. My advice is always ruin the friendship. Better that than regret it for all time. Okay, so this song ends up having a very sad turn where the guy that she should have just kissed ends up dying. So that is not this book, thankfully, because obviously every romance has to have a happily ever after. But this is a female-female romance, and you follow Clara and Evan. And Evan has known that she was a lesbian for a while. Like ever since they were teenagers. She actually got kicked out of her house when she was a teenager, and she ended up living with Clara. Like her parents took her in, and she has always had a crush on Clara, but she knew that Clara wasn't into women, so she kind of left it and moved on. So and now in the present time, Clara recently started her job as an assistant to her photography idol, and for some reason, and I don't really remember how, her idol thinks that Clara has a girlfriend. So she kind of goes with it because she's kind of flabbergasted and doesn't know how to respond. So now she has to come up with a fake girlfriend. She runs into Evan, who was recently dumped by her girlfriend because her girlfriend was cheating on her with another teacher at their school. Both of them were teachers. So Evan is really having a hard time because she has to see these two everywhere she goes. And now she's also invited to the holiday party that is hosted by her ex and her new girlfriend. So both of them, so they kind of talk this through, and both of them decide, okay, so then let's fake date, which is obviously hard for Evan because she has a crush on Clara and she thinks that Clara has no interest in her. Eventually, Clara realizes she might not be as straight as she thought she was, and this is their romance. It was so cute. It is a novella. It's only 150 pages, and I really liked it. It's perfect for like the holiday time. It was sweet and cute, and yeah, I really like these two. And it does deal with some harder topics. Like I said, it does deal with homophobia from, for sure, Evan's parents. So check your triggers for sure before getting into this one. Moving on to the next song, actually romantic. This song was so unhinged. I thought I would struggle a bit more than I actually did because I figured, you know, what would really fit, even though that is not what this song is about at all. I figured a hate to love romance would fit perfectly for this one. And I went for Garand Park by Nordica Night. I really need to get a copy of this book. I don't know why I haven't yet. I still need to read the second one. Maybe that is why. I'm gonna read you the lyrics. It's actually sweet, all the time you've spent on me. It's honestly wild, all the effort you've put in. It's actually romantic. I really gotta hand it to you. No man has ever loved me like you do. In this case, no woman has ever loved me like you do. And then the bridge, I feel like fits perfectly for a hate to love. You think I'm tacky, baby? Stop talking dirty to me. It sounded nasty, but it feels like you're flirting with me. So I went for, like I said, Garand Park. This is a male-male romance. The reason I'm picking this book for this song is, in hindsight, these two kind of realized that the reason they were so antagonistic toward each other and some of the things the other person did in hindsight kind of fits in the puzzle pieces of them actually ending up together. So you follow Devon and Maddox. They live in a trailer park. Both of them are dirt poor, and both of them do motocross, and they are rivals. And the reason they actually hate each other too is their fathers have pitted them against each other their whole lives. So they've been rivals. So either one of them is like in number one position or the other one. Both of their fathers are abusive. So it actually has severe consequences if they lose, which obviously makes the hatred that much worse because they know if you win, then I'm gonna get beaten. And Devon, for sure, tends to steal Maddox's girlfriends. And in hindsight, both of them kind of realize he did that to kind of, for like a romantic reason, even though he wasn't consciously doing that. So that is where I'm getting like the way these two think about each other all the time, are so antagonistic toward each other. Kind of in hindsight feels, okay, maybe that was flirting or like foreplay or something. The actual plot of this book is, like I said, they had these abusive fathers, and actually their brothers are best friends. So it's particularly these two that are pitted against each other. Devon gets beaten up by his father and he's close to dying. So he's trying to find his brother, but he cannot find him, and he knows, so he ends up going to Maddox's place because he knows that there's a high probability that his brother will be with Maddox's brother. When he gets to Maddox's place, his brother is not there, but Maddox sees how badly Devon is injured. So Maddox tells him, just come in, and he ends up taking care of Devon, which Devon, of course, does not like, because the last thing he wants is to be beholden to or feel like he owes Maddox something. But that particular event leads them to, even though they still hate each other, and what I really like about this book is throughout like the whole first book, they still are very antagonistic toward each other. Devon has had experiences with other men before, Maddox has not. So while he's taking care of Devon and they spend a bit more time together, they do end up doing sexual things, still while hating each other, and eventually this will turn into love. I really love this book. I still need to read the second one. I was planning on reading it right away. I don't know why I didn't, but this was so good. So hot too, I do have to admit, but I'm not gonna keep repeating myself because I do feel like this fits. Wishlist, I also feel like a lot of books could fit for this song, like a lot of romance books in particular, but I ended up going for The Right Move by Liz Tom 40. And these are the lyrics I used. They want it all. They want a complex female character, and they should have what they want. I just want you. Have a couple kids, got the whole block looking like you. We tell the world to leave us the fuck alone, and they do. Wow. Got me dreaming about a driveway with a basketball hoop. Boss up, settle down, got a wish list. I just want you. I made wishes on all of the stars. Please, God, bring me a best friend who I think is hot. I thought I had it right once, twice, but I did not. You caught me off my guard. This is a very popular book, one of my favorite books. Again, this is the second book in the Windy City series, and this is a sports romance, a basketball romance. And you follow Ryan and Indy, and Indy is Ryan's sister's best friend. And in the first book, you find out that Indy's long-term boyfriend, like her fiance, cheated on her. So now her whole life and her plans have gone up in smoke, and she needs to figure out where she's gonna live, what she's gonna do. So CV, who in the first book was living with her brother, but now is living with her boyfriend, knows that Ryan technically has a room available, but Ryan is he is one of the most famous basketball players out there, and he really values his privacy. So he was fine with his sister living there because that's his twin sister, but he is not looking, and he doesn't need a roommate, and he's for sure not looking for a roommate, and especially not Indy, who he had some awkward interactions with in the first book. His sister keeps insisting, so eventually he agrees. But he's setting up some ground rules that Indy needs to move out as soon as she saved enough money to do so, and some other ground rules. And this is also, they do end up fake dating as well. And eventually this is going to be their romance. So obviously the basketball hoop fits for this book perfectly because this is one of the few basketball romances I've read. But also she's talking about, have a couple kids, got the whole block looking at you. We tell the world to leave us the fuck alone, and they do. Got me dreaming about a driveway with a basketball hoop. So in this book, Indy actually has infertility issues. She's saving up to have her eggs frozen. So she is really dreaming of a family, and she thought she would have that with her ex, but now that they're broken up and she already has these infertility issues, she needs to figure out a way and a plan quickly because she wants to have a family. So that fits for this book for sure. And also, we tell the world to leave us the fuck alone, and they do. Ryan really doesn't have any privacy. Anytime he's out in the city, he gets all these people wanting his attention, wanting his autograph. So he's also like dreaming of a place where him and his wife and kids can have a place on their own, and the world leaves them alone. And at the end of the day, he for sure has achieved his dream. Like, he wanted to be a famous and successful basketball player. He has done all that. And now all he wants is somebody to trust, somebody to love, and he just wants Indy. So that is basically his wish list. So I feel like this song fits for both of them. And I added they want that complex female character. I once again feel like it fits because she's a reader. And she admits in this book that she's a simple girl and she likes simple things. And she's like a basic bitch. So she's at least in her mind, she doesn't feel like she's a complex female character, and I appreciated that about her for sure, because it made it very relatable for me. Wood is actually perfect because I just need a smutty read, because Taylor gets a bit cheeky. So I could have picked a lot. I went for The Frat Boy by Nikki Sloan, because this in the beginning very much feels like it's very shallow. It's just about the sex, and I found that I really love the romance in this book, and like this became one of my favorite books I read the year I read it in. So it really surprised me, because in the beginning, like I said, it felt like it was going to be like a shallow, smutty good time, which I was okay with, obviously, but it ended up surprising me for how sweet it ended up being. So let me read you some of these lyrics. Forgive me, it sounds cocky. He something matized me and opened my eyes. Redwood tree, it ain't hard to see. His love was the key that opened my thighs. Girls, I don't need to catch the bouquet to know a hard rock is on the way. And baby, I'll admit I've been a little superstitious. The curse on me was broken by your magic wand. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stop. So this, you follow people who make spicy content. So you follow Colin and Madison, and they so he's in a fraternity, she's in a sorority, and each year the fraternities and sororities have this big competition, and they get in trouble because something that resulted in a big mud fight between the sororities and fraternities, and both of them get kicked out of their sorority and fraternity. How many times can I say those two words? So both of them are looking for a place to stay and a job to afford that place. So they both end up answering this ad that is advertising making adult movie content. And in exchange for like 4 movies a month or something, you get to live at the house. So when they get to their audition, they realize that they have to audition with the other one, and they hate each other. Like their first scene together was so hot. Like any scene of them together was hot. So now it's a roommates to lovers. They have to live in that house and have to film spicy content together. And eventually they do fall in love. I really loved Colin in this book. I did. Like I loved how he loved her, how persistent he was, how much he wanted to kiss her. And she didn't at first. Like when they film their first scenes, she tells him, okay, so we can do anything, but you cannot kiss me. And he's kind of determined to make her like him, because she's more angry than he is, because he doesn't have all the information about what actually happened there. And I really loved it. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised about this book. And yes, it was very, 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 very hot. And he definitely has like, what does she call it? Like the magic wand to open her thighs. But he's also so sweet, and I loved him. And it was just great. Really. I have no other words to say. Cancelled is another one that is kind of a reach, but I went for Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. And the lyrics I used to justify this book are: they'd already picked out your grave and hers. Something wicked this way comes. Welcome to my underworld where it gets quite dark. At least you know exactly who your friends are. They're the ones with matching scars. Everyone's got bodies in the attic. And soon you'll learn the art of never getting caught. So this is a serial killer romance. So yeah, the lyrics I picked like could fit for a serial killer. So you follow Sloane and Rowan. They meet like in the beginning of this book, and they realize, oh, you're so they know. So obviously every serial killer has like a different like name people use to refer to them, because they do, like if they're not caught, then they don't actually know who that person is. So they're kind of fans of the other one, and they decide to have this competition where both of them get this one target, and whoever kills the target first wins the competition, and they do that every year. And eventually, like through the years of doing that, they end up falling in love. And both of them have matching scars. Both of them have things that happened in their past that turned them into these serial killers. And this is, even though, yes, obviously it's a dark romance, considering we're talking about murderers here, it also is humorous. It is like a dark rom-com. And there's a couple of those that have recently been published. And this was very popular when it came out, which was in 2023. So for Honey, I really like, it was difficult because in this song, she's talking about she's always been called these nicknames by other people in like a derogatory way or a condescending way for sure. So honey, sweetie, stuff like that. And now in her current relationship, he's using the same words, but it's said out of love. So now she loves those nicknames. And I know I wanted a romance where the hero or MMC uses a nickname in the beginning to annoy the heroine, and then when they actually fall in love, he still keeps using that nickname, but now in an endearing way. And I know I read a lot of books with that, with what I just described, but it took me literally a day to find one of them. But like I said, and I'm glad with this one, but I know I read more. If you have read some books that have that exact thing in it, let me know, because I was like really racking my brain trying to figure out, and I actually looked at some Reddit lists, but I couldn't find any list that had this particular recommendation. So let me know. I know Leather and Lark has something similar, but I know, like for example, in a lot of romanticities, I know that happens a lot, like that micro trope happens a lot. Anyway, I don't know if I said, but I went for King of Wrath, and this usually gets washed out when I film from this side, so I'll have a picture here. But let me talk about the lyrics first. You can call me honey if you want, because I'm the one you want. When anyone called me sweetheart, it was passive-aggressive at the bar. Redefine all of those blues when you say honey. You can call me honey if you want, because I'm the one you want. You give it a different meaning, because you mean it when you talk. So this book, this book is the first book in the Kings of Sin series by Anna Huang, and this series, every book follows like a different deadly sin. So she's up to 5 now, so we need 2 more. Right? 7 deadly sins, yes. This book you follow Dante and Vivian, and Vivian's father blackmails Dante into marrying his daughter, and Dante is very angry at that, and his mission is to first of all get out from under that deal and also destroy Vivian's father and everybody he's ever come in contact with. And he thinks that Vivian knows that her father made this deal, and so he thinks that she's complicit. So he's not at all happy that she's there. They have to move in together for a year before actually getting married. And like I said, he's going to use that year to ruin the Lau family. So when she gets there, he tells her, that is your room. Your ring is on the nightstand. Wear it. How romantic. But while she's living there, he realizes what a good person she is and that she had no clue what her father did. And he ends up obviously falling in love with her. And the nickname he uses for her is Mia Cara, which, what does that actually mean? I should know, because I've been studying Italian in Duolingo for like a couple years and I still suck at it. It means my dear, okay? So I'm actually gonna read you 2 quotes where he actually calls her that while not being in love with her. And then eventually it's going to be his term of endearment for her, and he would burn down the world for her. So yeah, he tells her, okay, I'm not scared of your father, Mia Cara. If he doesn't like what I say, he can take it up with me himself. And she says, don't call me that, Mia Cara. It is insulting. And he notches an eyebrow. How so? You don't mean it. That is exactly what I meant with this particular subtrope. And then in the same sentence, or in the same scene, he once again calls her that, because she says, okay, so maybe we should date each other so we can get to know each other. And he says, are you asking me out, Mia Cara? A smile touched my lips at her glare. I told you to stop calling me that. He tells her, yes, you did. And in his head, he says, I was going to call her Mia Cara every chance I got. So I just love that. Like, what do you want me to say? First of all, I am a sucker for a nickname in a foreign language. Like, any foreign language, any nickname in another language. And I'm just based on that, there's just a higher probability that I'm going to fall in love with your book. I don't know why. I just do. I love that. And yes, the nickname being used when they're not in love and it actually turning into their term of endearment for like the FMC when they do fall in love. I just love that. And you know, it's probably, you know, part of the patriarchy, you know, but I don't know. I just really like it. Now, last and most certainly not least, it is my favorite song on the album. Like I said, I love when there are discussions about the industry, and I especially love Taylor Swift's songs that talk about fame and how it's not that perfect, how it's not that great actually. So I love her. The Lucky One is used to be, like, still is one of my favorite songs of all time. I really love Clara Bow and really love this one. And I also really love Lucky by Britney Spears. That also is one of my favorite songs of all time. But like I said, I don't read a lot of books with singers and showgirls, but I did end up going for Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. So this fits because it's orange, but that is not the only reason. Let's read you some of the lyrics. I said, "You're living my dream." Then she said to me, "Hey, thank you for the lovely bouquet. You're sweeter than a peach, but you don't know the life of a showgirl, babe. And you're never ever gonna. Wait, the more you play, the more that you pay. You're softer than a kitten, so you don't know the life of a showgirl, babe. And you're never gonna wanna." She said, "I'd sell my soul to have a taste of a magnificent life. That's all mine, but that's not what showgirls get. They leave us for dead. They ripped me off like false lashes, then threw me away. Pain, hidden by the lipstick and lace." So it fits a bit, but not 100%, because in the life of a showgirl, they actually, the song ends with them being okay with being a showgirl, even though it's filled with pain and it's not easy, but they are now married to that life and they have accepted that. This book is a bit different because actually she ends up leaving that life behind a bit and married to a cowboy. So you follow Skylar and Weston, and Skylar is like a Taylor Swift type artist in this book. She's very famous, a country music star, everybody knows her name. And in the first book you read that the MMC in that book wanted to make a recording studio where artists could be more in charge of their songs without labels and other nefarious people using them and like abusing them. So Skylar's family is the opposite of the Swift family, really. Like, they have used her entire life. They took her money, didn't treat her well at all. So she decides to leave Hollywood behind and go to this small town and work with Ford Grant on her newest album. And she was never allowed to write her songs because she was always supposed to produce hits. They never really thought that she would be good enough to write songs. So she decides, I want to make this album. I want to write my own songs. And on her first day, she meets Weston, and they don't get off on the right foot because she wants to take a picture of a bear. But of course, bears are really dangerous and she's never seen one. So Weston saves her from the bear, but also chews her out for putting herself in danger. And eventually she ends up living at Weston's guest house because the studios were supposed to have these cottages, but they're not done yet. So her and Weston get closer. Weston is a single father of 2 kids, and she gets really close to the kids, and especially the little boy, who ends up actually helping her write some music. The showgirl life is definitely not what she wanted. It is filled with a lot of pain. There's a storyline in here where there's something that happens that ruins her reputation, and the industry and the whole world turns against her. So I feel it fits, but I also know that there's probably other books that would fit better. Obviously, the book that very much comes to mind is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. But that one I feel like was too much of a shoe-in. Also, I actually wanted to recommend this for Elizabeth Taylor at first. So I feel like this one fits for that song as well. But if you have read more books about singers or showgirls or like famous people, let me know in the comments and I might read them. But like I said, I prefer songs talking about that because that is actually their lived experience, of course. I don't know. I don't know why I don't really like reading about famous people. It is a character quirk or flaw, I guess. So those were my recommendations for The Life of a Showgirl. I'm sure you could recommend a lot more books with these songs. So I would really love to know if you heard one of these songs and you felt like a particular book fit perfectly. Leave all your recommendations down below. And if you want to say that you are here but you don't want to leave me anything, leave me a fiery heart emoji. I hope you enjoyed this video. Definitely let me know by leaving a like if you did. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day and I'll talk to you later. Bye.